Zillow just predicted the first housing price decline in almost a decade. Redfin is reporting record contract cancellations. So this is a recipe for a softening housing market. And you know what? I'm here for it. So kind of excited about this one, guys. So let's dive into what Zillow and Redfin are predicting for the rest of 2025 with this housing market. Let's get started. So this is welcome news for everybody, right? Everybody's fed up with these high housing prices. Now the rising mortgage rates. Affordability is a huge issue for Americans right now. So although Zillow is predicting a price decline, it's not much of a decline, but it's a start. So let's dive into what they're talking about right now. So in this recent article from Fast Company, it says housing market to see the first annual U.S. home price drop since 2011. Zillow projects that U.S. home prices will fall 0.9% between April of 2025 and April of 2026. Zillow economists had previously expected national home prices would rise this year. So you remember me talking about this about a couple of months ago. They started downgrading their projections and saying that prices are actually going to be coming down. So it actually goes into a little bit more detail about that here in this article. After a series of downward revisions beginning in January, when Zillow's 12-month national home price forecast was plus 2.9% and subsequently lowered each month until reaching minus 1.7% last month, Zillow has finally stopped downgrading its outlook. That said, it's fair to call the Zillow economists bearish, given that for this forecast to be correct, 2025 would mark the first calendar year home price decline since 2011. Why did Zillow downgrade its forecast for national home prices so many times this year? The rise in active listings is fueling softer price growth, as greater supply provides more options and more bargaining power for buyers. Potential buyers are opting to remain renters for longer as affordability challenges suppress demand for home purchases. Zillow thinks this strained housing affordability caused by U.S. home prices rising over 40% during the pandemic housing boom and mortgage rates spiking from 3 to 6% in 2022 is weighing on price growth. Affordability is still challenging buyers. A mortgage payment on a typical home in March required about 35.3% of median household income nationwide when using a 20% down payment. That's a slight improvement over last year, but is still unaffordable. Spending more than 30% of income on housing is considered a financial burden, and a 20% down payment is a steep entry fee, coming out to about $72,000 on the typical U.S. home. According to Zillow's home price model, the listing site also believes that weakening and softening housing markets across the Sun Belt will weigh on nationally aggregated home prices this year. This is kind of a good thing, okay? Now, I know 0.9%, not a lot, not even 1% decrease. However, this could be the beginning of more of a downward trend in home prices. Let's see. But the fact that they're reporting on this and now they're finally saying, okay, prices are coming down, I think this is a good sign. Now, Redfin is saying the same thing. Let's dive into what they're talking about. Now, according to Redfin, U.S. home prices are projected to flatten in the third quarter and decline 1% year over year by the fourth quarter of 2025. So they're pretty much in line with Zillow, right? Zillow's saying 0.9%. Redfin's already there at 1%. The company also expects mortgage rates to remain elevated near 7% through the end of the year. This marks a sharp reversal from more than a decade of mostly rising prices. Except for a brief dip in 2023, home prices have increased on a yearly basis since 2012, driven by a prolonged seller's market. Redfin said cooler prices stem from a widening gap between supply and demand. Existing home sales dropped 1.1% in April compared to a year earlier to reach a 6-month low. The homes that sold took a median of 40 days, 5 days longer than a year ago. Meanwhile, the total number of homes for sale surged 16.7% to a 5-year high, with new listings up 8.6% during the year. The housing market has struggled since mortgage rates began climbing in early 2022, and recent economic uncertainty has further slowed buyer activity. Redfin economists expect prices to decline nationwide for two main reasons. Number one, negotiated discounts. buyers are negotiating prices down, especially for homes that need work or are located in less desirable areas. Number 2, lower list prices. As homes sit on the market, sellers are more likely to cut prices or list below comparable properties to attract offers. So what I found interesting in this article, this is a quote from a Redfin agent. So look at this. A lot of people selling right now bought in 2021 or 2022 when home prices were near their height. This is from Corey Stambaugh, a Redfin Premier agent in North Carolina. Even though we advise them to list at today's market value, a lot of them decide to list high to recoup their money. But those sellers face reality once their home has been sitting for a couple of weeks without any offers. Now, it goes on to say, although a 1% dip in prices won't radically change affordability, it could help some buyers. Combined with the steady wage growth of about 4%, housing is expected to become slightly more affordable. So this was interesting. So Redfin is pretty much in line with Zillow. So they're saying about a 1% decline. I know it's not a lot, but this could lead to more price declines, which let's hope that happens. Now, I wanted to touch on another article that Redfin did. It talked about the contract cancellations. So April, they saw a record high number of cancellations. So let's talk about that. So Redfin is reporting here roughly 56,000 U.S. home purchase agreements were canceled in April, equal to 14.3% of homes that went under contract that month. That's up 13.5% a year earlier, and it's the highest April share in records dating back to 2017, with the exception of April 2020, when the coronavirus brought the housing market to a halt. Okay, so why all the cancellations? So they're saying home buyers are skittish for several reasons. Number 1, economic uncertainty. Redfin agents report that some buyers are getting cold feet due to widespread economic and political uncertainty. Tariffs, layoffs, and federal policy changes are among the factors prompting people to stay put instead of move. A recent Redfin survey found that nearly 1 of every 4 Americans is scrapping plans to make major purchases due to tariffs. Number 2, it's a buyer's market. Housing inventory is at a 5-year high, and demand is slowing, meaning the buyers who are in the market often have room to negotiate. Some house hunters are backing out during the inspection period because a better house has or might come along. Number 3, sticker shock. Mortgage rates and home prices remain stubbornly high, with April's average hitting 6.73%, more than double the pandemic record low. Combined with economic uncertainty, high housing costs are causing some would-be buyers to change their minds at the 11th hour. Now, where are most of these cancellations happening? You know where I'm going with this. It says right here, Florida. So Florida is home to 5 of the 10 metros with the highest cancellation rate. So it's saying here that Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville are the top markets that are seeing the highest cancellations. Why? We all know what's been going on down in Florida, especially with their condo crisis. I mean, condos are now sitting on the market for almost a year before they're selling. Single family homes, I think you're looking at about 6 months. They're sitting on the market. 6 months is a balanced market. Okay. It doesn't mean the market's crashing. That is a balanced market. The condos, on the other hand, that's a whole other thing I'm not even going to touch right now, but that's a big problem that they're dealing with down there. But because you have people now getting out because it is so expensive, the homeowners insurance rates have skyrocketed. HOA fees have skyrocketed. It's just getting too expensive for people to live there. So now they're moving out. Couple that with all the new builds that are going on, you got a lot to choose from. There's a lot of homes to choose from in Florida. So I'm not surprised to hear that there was this many cancellations that took place in Florida. They could just move on to the next home, especially if there's an inspection issue and the seller doesn't want to repair it or issue a credit. That's okay. The buyer can move on to another house. Now, those other markets where they saw the high cancellation rates, we're looking at Texas, Las Vegas, and Riverside, California. So Texas and Las Vegas, again, I'm not surprised either. A lot more homes to choose from. This is why people are, they're backing out because they're like, I'll just move on to the next home. Let's get back to this whole price decline thing. Now, Redfin saying 1%, Zillow said 0.9% decline. And you're all looking at me like, are you crazy? This is not even a big enough decline to make things affordable. No, but as I said before, it's a step in the right direction. So if we were to take a look at Zillow's forecast map for April 25 to April 26, very interesting. They are showing price declines across many markets nationwide. So take a look here. We have here Dallas, Texas. They're looking at a price forecast. The prices are going to decline 2.2% over the next year. So let's take a look at the Zillow forecast map for April of 25 to April of 26. They're showing price declines for the next year. which I think it's a good thing. And they're showing declines across the entire country. So for example, let's take a look here at Dallas. Dallas is showing their 12-month home price forecast. They're having a decline of 2.2%. Let's look over at Florida. Same thing. Tampa they're going to see a 0.7% decline. Orlando, 1.1%. Now, even up in the Northeast, when, you know how crazy the market's been here in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, they're projecting that we're going to have declines up in the Northeast. Thank God. So look at New York. 12-month home price forecast, they're looking at a decline of 1.4%. Philadelphia, 0.2%. Sunbury, Pennsylvania, you're looking at a decline of 3.2%. So they're projecting declines, not big declines, but it's a decline, and it's happening across the country. So you know how I feel about this. I think this is a good thing. We need to get back to the balanced market. Here's some advice I have for you. So if you are a home buyer, you're looking to purchase, you're in these markets, okay? These southern markets like Florida, Texas, Nevada, you're seeing the price declines. You have leverage right now. So you're going to work with a trusted realtor that's going to get you in there and get you the best price. You have leverage where you can negotiate home inspection items. You can ask for the seller to repair or give you credit. You can also ask for concessions. I've had viewers here come on my live streams tell me that they're getting concessions from sellers to help pay towards their closing costs. I'm hearing rate buy down. Sellers are helping to contribute towards a rate buy down. So these are really good things. This is important. So if you're a buyer, you have leverage. Now, on the flip side, if you are a seller in these markets, you're not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to tell you how it is. You got to price according to the market. Now, in that article where Redfin stated that there are people that bought homes in 2021 and 22 that are putting their house on the market, hoping to recoup their money, I got news for you. If you're listing your home, what the price was back in 2021 and 22, you're going to have a heck of a time selling that house. Hire a trusted real estate agent and listen to what they're telling you and look at the comps. Look at the data, see what homes are selling for. More than likely, the homes are selling for less than what you paid 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And that's, look, a harsh reality, but it is what it is. Because I will tell you, if you list your home at a much higher price, it's going to sit a lot longer. And if you start doing price reductions and it continues to sit, you're going to get lowball offers and you can end up making less money. So you may not like what I'm telling you right now, but it is the harsh reality. So hire a trusted real estate agent and ask to see the data, look at the comps, see what the homes are selling for, and price accordingly. If you price accordingly, your home will definitely sell. And also be open to negotiating. Like I'm just telling the buyers right now, this is the reality of it. There are more homes to choose from. So if you're not going to offer a credit or offer to make a repair, they're going to walk away and they're going to go find another house because another house will come along pretty quickly. And then you're stuck. You've lost days on market. And now you got to start all over again if that contract gets canceled. I mean, just look right there. 56,000 contracts were canceled. You don't want to be one of that 56,000. Trust me. And speaking of hiring trusted realtors, if you need to be connected to a realtor in your market, whether you're selling or buying a home, don't forget to click that link down below, fill out the form, and I will get you connected to a real estate agent in your market. So look, I think this is great news. I think we're headed in the right direction, and maybe affordability will become a thing of the past. Let's hope. This may take a while to get there. But hey, if you want to know more about what's going on in this housing market this year, you can check out these videos right here. I think you're going to get a lot of information out of them. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.